From busy cities like Tokyo to quiet temples in Kyoto, Japan has lots of interesting things to discover. But how did Japan become the great place it is now? To find out and understand Japan today, let's go back in time together. The samurai were indeed Japan's warrior class, but their origins are a bit more complex than simply being provincial warriors hired to protect landowners. The samurai emerged during the Heian period from 794 to 1185 as a response to the need for a professional warrior class to protect the imperial court and maintain order. Over time, they evolved into a distinct social class with its own code of conduct, known as Bushido. The rise of the samurai was influenced by both indigenous Japanese factors and external influences, particularly from Chinese and Korean military traditions. The term shogun refers to a military commander or general, and it did become a title for the de facto rulers of Japan during the Kamakura period from 1185 to 1333 and later the Ashikaga and Tokugawa shogunates. The shogun was often the highest military authority, wielding significant political power. The process of appointing a shogun did involve battles and power struggles, but it was not solely based on battles between landowners. The Minamoto and later the Tokugawa clans were among the prominent families associated with the shogunate. Over time, the shoguns gradually took control of the government, reducing the emperor to a symbolic and ceremonial role. The emperor became a figurehead while the shogun held the real political and military power. The power dynamics within Japan were characterized by the competition among various daimyo families. These daimyo controlled different regions of Japan and maintained their own private armies. Periodically, power would shift between rival daimyo families through conflicts and battles. This period of political instability and warfare is often referred to as the Sengoku period. In 1192, the Japanese Emperor Go-Toba officially appointed Minamoto Yoritomo as Seitai Shogun, which translates to Great General for subduing the barbarians. This marked the establishment of the Kamakura Shogunate, and Yoritomo became the first shogun in Japanese history. The shogunate was a military government that held effective power, and the shogun became the de facto ruler of Japan, while the emperor retained a more symbolic role. This event is significant because it formalized the separation of military and political power in Japan, with the emperor in Kyoto and the shogun in Kamakura. The establishment of the Kamakura shogunate marked the beginning of a new era in Japanese history, known as the Kamakura period. In 1333, Ashikaga Tokuji's younger brother initially supported the imperial forces in the Meiji Restoration, a movement that aimed to restore imperial authority and reduce the influence of the Hojo regents. However, after the fall of the Kamakura shogunate, Tokuji turned against the imperial court and established his own shogunate in 1338. This marked the beginning of the Ashikaga shogunate, which lasted from 1338 to 1573. Regarding the construction of the imperial city of Kyoto, it predates the establishment of the Ashikaga shogunate. Kyoto had already been the imperial capital since 794 when Emperor Kamu moved the capital from Nara. Kyoto continued to serve as the imperial capital throughout various shogunates, including the Kamakura shogunate and the subsequent Ashikaga shogunate. The city played a central role in Japanese political and cultural life for many centuries. In 1603, Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa clan, officially became the shogun, marking the beginning of the Tokugawa shogunate. The shogunate was established after Tokugawa Ieyasu's victory in the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. While Edo later became the center of power for the Tokugawa shogunate, The official capital at the time was still Kyoto. The imperial court remained in Kyoto, and Edo served as the de facto capital where the shogun's government was based. In 1853, U.S. Commodore Matthew Perry led an expedition to Japan with a fleet of 4 warships, including steam-powered frigates. The purpose of Perry's mission was to establish diplomatic and trade relations between the United States and Japan. Perry arrived in Edo Bay in July 1853 and, in a display of military might, demanded that Japan open its ports to foreign trade. Perry returned the following year, in 1854, with an even larger fleet, reinforcing the message. Faced with the technological superiority of the Western powers and the potential threat of military intervention, the Tokugawa Shogunate decided to sign the Treaty of Kanagawa in 1854. The Treaty of Kanagawa marked the beginning of Japan's opening to the outside world after centuries of self-imposed isolation. It allowed American ships to refuel and resupply at 2 Japanese ports, facilitating limited trade between the 2 nations. Subsequently, similar treaties were negotiated with other Western powers, including Britain, Russia, and France, leading to the opening of additional ports for foreign trade. Crown Prince Matsuhito became the Emperor of Japan in 1867, but he adopted the reign name Meiji, and thus, he is more commonly known as Emperor Meiji. The Meiji era officially began on February 3, 1867, following the death of Emperor Komeei, his father. Emperor Meiji played a pivotal role in the Meiji Restoration, which marked the end of the Tokugawa Shogunate and the restoration of imperial rule. The Meiji era was characterized by sweeping reforms and modernization efforts that transformed Japan from a feudal society into a modern industrialized nation. The Meiji Restoration laid the foundation for Japan's emergence as a major global power in the 20th century. The Boshin War, which took place in 1868, marked a significant turning point in Japanese history. It was a conflict between forces supporting the Tokugawa Shogunate and those favoring the restoration of imperial rule under Emperor Meiji. The conflict began in January 1868 when forces loyal to the emperor clashed with shogunal forces in various regions of Japan. The primary cause of the war was the dissatisfaction with the Tokugawa shogunate's handling of foreign relations and the perception that it was unable to effectively deal with the encroachment of Western powers. As the conflict unfolded, the imperial forces gained the upper hand, and by the summer of 1868, they had successfully captured Edo, which was the seat of the shogunate. The Tokugawa shogun formally surrendered, and Emperor Meiji moved his residence from Kyoto to Edo, renaming it Tokyo, meaning Eastern Capital. The new Meiji government implemented a series of reforms to strengthen the central authority, modernize the military, and adopt Western technologies and institutions. Japan transformed from a feudal society into a modern nation-state, positioning itself as a major player on the global stage in the following decades.